Hey, Advanced Science 7 students. Today I'm going to do my best to go through how to edit and give you some of the ins and outs on what does it take to write a good phase 2 research project. Now, we've already covered and we have our video and our links to how to do all the research. So I'm hoping you found good sources. I'm hoping you are understanding that we've got all of the instructions here so you know what goes into each paragraph. What I want to do is once you've written everything, I want to show you how to cite your sources and a few common problems that people struggle with, and we'll kind of maybe how to interpret each of these paragraphs. So I have written a slightly comical, slightly not accurate research paper so that I wouldn't end up writing one exactly like someone else's project. So forgive me for any bad attempts at humor. Here we go. Here is the project topic that I have written. You've seen this topic before, possibly. So, but let's look. So, the introduction paragraph. I've written about why. Why would I do this project? It's not a how I'm doing the project, it's what is the purpose. So I'm talking about, the fact that I'm an evil scientist, which most of you have figured out by now, and I'm trying to defeat, all of the heroes in the world, and I have a problem that I need to melt diamonds fast. Would it work better or would it be faster to melt diamonds with the lava from my underground secret lair in my volcano, or would it all the nuclear waste that I built up? Would that be a better option to melt diamonds? And so um, then after that, I explain why this is useful to other evil scientists around the world with their, world domination quests. And then I write other things that maybe would be helpful. We could also melt supercomputers, spaceships, and butter with the same information that we are using to melt diamonds. Now, let's jump into one of the hardest parts where people are going to struggle the most, and that is the body paragraphs. So let's look at what it says in your background information. These are the main parts of the paper. This is not explaining how you're doing your project again. This is just when I'm looking at my independent variables and I'm looking at how I'm going to run my test, what are things that I'm going to need to know and I'm going to need to research? So I've got a paragraph about lava and volcanoes, because if I'm going to research volcanoes so I know how hot the lava can get, I need to find these things. Now, really quickly, when you go through and you write something, you're going to have typos and you're going to have mistakes. Notice right away, I've got a blue squiggly line here into the air. All you got to do is right click if you have a mouse and it'll pull up. Oh, it's saying, oh, I've repeated a word. I've got the in there twice. I can just click on into the air and it's fixed it for me. If you don't have a mouse where you can't right click, you can actually just go in and go, oh, well, what's my problem? And look at it. So a blue squiggly line is going to be you've got a grammar error. Now I read along and I go, oh, here's a red squiggly line. That means that you've got a spelling problem. Again, I can right click. It's going to give me suggestions. Oh, I spelled Celsius wrong. Okay, there's the correct one, and it goes in there. You should not turn in things with blue or red lines under them. That means there's a mistake. You should fix those before you turn them in. Go through and edit it yourself, maybe have a parent go through, but if it's underlined, it's going to stick out really rough because it's going to be underlined for me too. I'm going to see that, oh, you didn't bother and fix your spelling and grammar errors. And, we want to present this and we want people to read it. And so, yes, you need to go and fix those. All right, looking at this first paragraph, I'm seeing, one thing that sticks out is this first sentence first couple sentences, uh, those are clearly copied from Google. I know Google's fonts. I know how they highlight keywords. Um, that's plagiarism. Can't do that. If I want to take a direct quote from someone, then I need to put that in quotation marks, or I need to rephrase that in my own words. And so be really careful. Do know that this is one of the few assignments where I actually check for plagiarism. I'm going to run all of your papers through Google's check, and it'll look at through all of the things that have ever been posted in Google and make sure that you didn't copy someone else's work. It'll tell me what percentage of your work is an exact copy of other people's work. So give credit to where credit's due. It's okay to take the sentence and say, well, this is what I'm getting at, and putting it into your own words. That's legal. It's not okay to just take word for word someone else's work and just copy, cut, and paste and put it into this document. So I would need to change this slightly and say, look, well, okay, volcanoes formed when hot molten rock and gases escape. And I can reword that. I won't waste the time now, but that would be something that I need to do. The other problem with this paragraph is not all of the work I haven't given credit. So let's look at this next sentence here. Hot ash and gases are thrown into the air. Volcano temperatures reach over 1,000 degrees Celsius. So I didn't research that. I didn't go to Hawaii and take a thermometer and put it into the volcano and go, oh yeah, that's 1,200 degrees Celsius. Whew, really cool. Um, but someone did. Someone did that research. Now, I had to find that fact. I can't just make up facts. I had to find that. And so hopefully, down in my references, I've got someone who did that. And it turns out, oh, yes, I found this in my Earth Science book, McDougall Publishing. So here's a really cool thing you can do. Instead of typing out, something that says McDougall Publishing, and I could do that. You could say, well, right in here, right behind where I learned that. So right in this spot here, I could write that would be the author of the book. This one happens to be an earth science textbook, so I could reference that. And then anyone looking at my reference list down below would go, oh, that's where they found that. But let's say I wanted to, the sentence before that, hot ash and gases are thrown into the air. Again, I didn't discover that. Let's say I wanted to cite that, slick and easy. If I number each of these, this is number 1, number 2, 3, 4. Remember, you need 5 sources. You can have more than 5 for sure. But if you take all of your bibliography and you go, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I found this one. We'll say that we found that in source 5. All I need to do is go up and I'm going to find the one that I want to look at and say, oh, it was the one about hot ash. I did not figure that out on my own. I'm going to put a 5 there. And then that looks really weird. So I'm going to highlight the 5 and then and then once I've highlighted that number, I can hit Command, comma, and it'll make it a subscript. So this little 5 underneath this, behind the sentence, is going to say, look, everything in this sentence we can now attribute to source number 5. And I'm working on a MacBook, and so you might need to do a Google search on how to make a subscript But I think since we're in Google Doc, it should be the same, just a command and a comma while you hold the command key down, and that will get you that number. I think that's a fast and easy way, and it makes your paper easy to read. The other thing you can do is you can look for things like this, where you say, Dr. Rosalie Lopez discovered 71 volcanoes on Io, a moon around Jupiter. I don't know exactly how that attributes, but that's a fact. That's a real scientist, and she did discover that. And so I've given credit to her. If she is the author of what I'm looking at, I've already in the sentence, and I could say something like, according to Lopez, there are 71 volcanoes on Io. And if we look down, I've got her as a source. Her NASA research was something that I wanted to look at. And so if you put that person's name in the sentence, you're already giving credit to them. What you can't do is make it look like you came up with that information, that you've discovered these things. Now, let's take a quick peek. Everything in that first paragraph looks okay, except for the second to last sentence, or third to last sentence. My mom always wanted to visit a volcano. Now, that may be a true statement. My mom would always has wanted to go to Hawaii. She would love to see a volcano. But that's kind of an opinion, and it's just a filler, and it doesn't really help my project at all. And so I should really take stuff like that out. That doesn't really help my project. What I'm looking for in the main background research is things that would help you learn about each of the things you're looking at. So I've got a paragraph on volcanoes and lava. I've got a paragraph on nuclear waste. I've got some facts here. Again, if I'm going to use the scientist in there, then they need to be cited in my bibliography. Nuclear waste is produced as a byproduct of nuclear fission. I didn't figure that out. That is a fact, but I need a source for it. I have to find out where I figured that out from. And some of you have got lots of cool facts, but you got to make sure you know where you got the proof. And there might be lots of places to find that proof, but you need to tell where you learned it from. And so as we go through here, things need to be relevant. I mean, here I have code about, it says, oh, there are 300 tons of nuclear waste produced by each reactor a year. It's the same amount of oil that McDonald's goes through in a year when it makes French fries. This isn't the place for your opinions. This isn't the place for, how you think it relates to your project or just how you feel about it. You're not trying to convince anyone. It's not a persuasive argument. You're not trying to, make someone be against McDonald's or nuclear waste or anything like that. This is just you learning facts about your topic. So I also have a paragraph where I learned about melting, and I've got things about diamonds. Again, diamonds have a melting point of 4,027 degrees Celsius. That's a great fact, but I didn't discover it. I need to put a source in. Oh, I got that from source 4. I'm going to put in the number 4. I'm going to highlight it, command and comma, and that makes it a subscript. And now I've got that. It's okay if you have multiple, you can put, like, let's say I also found the next thing, that paragraph right there. Let's say I also found that from source 4. It's okay to have multiple things. You can do the same, just put a subscript behind each of them. Or you can have them, if it's all in a row, you can just put it at the last point and then maybe reference at the beginning, hey, this is learned from this source. And then anything in between that would be assumed to go from the same source. But be really careful with that. And if you need help with that, absolutely, I can help you. but do your best to get those sources cited. The other big thing that students tend to have a problem with is the related research project. And I've tried to clear up the directions, um, but let's be clear what I'm looking for. Again, I don't want your project here. This is not, well, this is how I'm going to run my project. It's something that was similar to your project. If you find your exact project done by someone else, then you already know the results and we need to change your project slightly. So I'm looking into lava and nuclear waste, and I looked and I went, ooh, here's a project as I did my research by Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Dr. Doofenshmirtz wanted to know if lava or a laser would defeat a platypus secret agent faster. He measured the time it took for a platypus named Perry to become trapped by both lava and lasers. So here I've identified my independent variable, not mine, Doofenshmirtz's. So who did the project? That's an important thing. You need to state whose project was it, not I found a random project. Who did it? Second, what were they comparing? What were the independent variables? Third, what were the dependent variables? And they were measuring this. It doesn't have to be the same as your project. As long as it's somewhat related, that's fine. And in the end, you don't need to tell me all of the steps, the procedure, you don't need to share all of the data. Just tell me, what did they learn? So, all right, in the end, he found that Perry was trapped in 2 seconds by the lava and 4 seconds by the laser. And he also found that Perry escaped from all of the traps. Done. This is what we learned. Lava is faster than laser. Probably should have put a sentence summarizing it there. That's what I need from that. Who did it? What were they testing? What were they measuring? And a quick summary of their results. If you want to do more than one test, yes, you can, but then you need to do all of that information for both things that you're looking at. I need at least one test. And that research video that Ms. Ward put together is great for getting to specific tests that other people have run. Lastly, the conclusion is really just a summary of your first 4 paragraphs. Why are you doing the test? What's the purpose? What were some things you learned? You don't need to list all the facts and cite them all again. Just a quick summary. Hey, I learned about volcanoes and how hot they are. I learned about how nuclear waste is produced. I learned how diamonds can melt and what they're made out of. And this is hopefully going to help me solve my problem. I look forward to continuing working on my project. Done. Wrap it up. All right. Yes, you do need a bibliography. The tools you have in place in our research video are super helpful. Please use that. If you number them, that is great. If you're going to, obviously, if you're going to use the subscript, which is a quick and easy way, then yes, they need to be numbered so I can tie whatever's in the body of your paper down to your references in bibliography. All right, websites are fine, books, articles, all of those. Make sure that you use a consistent bibliography format. If you have questions on any of those things, or like a certain paragraph is giving you trouble, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you with it. But yes, please edit everything before you turn it in the first time, and then I will get you feedback, and hopefully we can get through these quick. Good luck, everyone.